Hi friends, happy summer 2020. My name is Miss Emily. I am one of the librarians at the main branch of the Charleston County Public Library. Super excited to be celebrating summer reading Imagine Your Story with you. I'm not sure that any of us imagined that this is how we'd be celebrating summer reading, but nevertheless, I'm super excited to be joining you today, and I'm super excited that you have chosen to visit my house. Today we're going to be making two fun fairy foods. So we're going to be making a fairy bread and then a fairy magic wand made out of fruit. The fairy magic wand can be enjoyed every day as fruit is a healthy and yummy snack, whereas the fairy bread is a bit more of a special occasion treat. I actually learned about fairy bread when I was living in Australia and I went to a kid's birthday party. Instead of having cake, they brought out fairy bread. I had never had it before, but I was super excited to learn that it's a popular children's treat. They eat it most of the time at birthday parties or other sorts of parties instead of cake. So I'm super excited to teach you about both of those today. So for the fairy bread, you're getting 3 ingredients: a loaf of bread, cream cheese or butter, and a jar of sprinkles. So our first step for the fairy bread is we're going to cut the crusts off of the bread. And I am saving all of my crusts in a bowl and I'm going to feed them to the birds later just to make sure nothing goes to waste. Now that we have our crusts cut off, we're going to take a rolling pin and we're going to flatten out that layer of bread just so it's really thin. We're going to roll up the bread easier, so this makes it just very thin. You don't need to put a lot of pressure. You don't need to spend a lot of time on it. Just flatten it just a little bit. And then we're going to take our cream cheese mixed with a little bit of sugar, and we're going to apply a very thin layer to it all throughout the slice of bread. Traditional fairy bread in Australia is made with butter, but I use a little bit of cream cheese and a little bit of sugar just to change the recipe up for my taste. You can make it either way. You could also buy like a cream cheese that's flavored, so maybe a strawberry cream cheese or a cream cheese with a hint of honey, whatever you know your child's going to enjoy. Now that we have our cream cheese spread, we are going to put our sprinkles on. Now that's the reason for the cream cheese. In addition to being delicious, it also makes sure that the bread and the sprinkles stick together. And there's no right measurement here. It's just as much or as little as you'd like. A fun fact that I learned while I was in Australia is that sprinkles are called hundreds and thousands there. And I love that name because it gives an idea of just how many sprinkles are in the jar. So, now that we've got our sprinkles on, all of our ingredients have been used, the next and final step is to roll it up, kind of like a Swiss roll. So you just take it, use your thumbs, get a very tight roll. Parents, this is great fine motor skill practice for the kids. So I'm going to bring it closer to the camera so you can see. Very thinly rolled, almost like a pirouette cookie. You can maybe see in there, I've got my cream cheese and my sprinkles, all rolled in a tight, compact snack. Now this is super easy to make and fun. It's a simple treat that is very popular and that I really enjoyed. So I hope that you guys try this one out. I'm gonna put that to the side for now while we get to our next treat. Before we get to our fruit kebabs, I'm going to clean up a little bit. I do have a towel down to help with mess, but my cutting board's got some sprinkles on it, some breadcrumbs, so I'm going to wash it off. And I'm also going to wash my hands and wash my fruit. I washed my hands before, just to be safe. I'm going to wash them again. I'll be right back. Alrighty, so now that we have cleaned up from our fairy bread, which is still resting on the side, we're going to enjoy it later with our kebabs. Washed our hands and washed the fruit, we can get to the fairy kebabs. Now what you need for the kebabs: kebab sticks, a cookie cutter of some sort, preferably a star. I didn't have a star, so fun fact, I actually used a snowflake cookie cutter from when I make Christmas cookies. It looks pretty much like a star to me. Watermelon, and then fruits of your choosing. I chose fruits that I know go onto skewers relatively easily. So I've got some strawberries I've washed and cut the tops off of. And then 2 different kinds of grapes. So the purple and the green. I'm gonna put all of that on the side. So the first step for our magic wands is to create our star topper made out of watermelon. I've created 2 just so you can see what they look like. This is what we're gonna put on the top of our magic wands. You can do this very easily. I recommend buying a whole watermelon and cutting it into slices that are about 2 inches thick. Example. And then you just use your cookie cutter and just go straight through that watermelon. That's why using a whole watermelon makes it easier, because you've got more room. You don't have to cut into any of the rind. So we're gonna put those. I'm gonna stick my watermelon on the top to make a topper for my magic fairy wand. And then you're gonna use our strawberries and our grapes to fill the rest of the kabob. So I am going to alternate with strawberries and grapes. And parents, this can be a really good practice for patterns as well. You can create a pattern with your kabob and ask your children to duplicate it, just to get some extra educational components into the kabobs. Again, this is another one that really helps with the fine motor skills, makes the food fun and playful, and encourages imagination. My strawberries are heavier, so I'm not going to put as many of them on there. You could also cut them in half if you didn't, you wanted to put completely strawberries. I like mine whole, so I'm just going to put less of them on there. So I've got a strawberry on top. I am alternating every other color of grape, and then I'm going to put another strawberry on bottom. And again, you don't have to use these fruits. You can use others if you choose. So I've got a strawberry on the bottom of my magic wands to make them easier for little hands to hold. I've got my watermelon topper. I've used a snowflake. You could use a star or a heart, whatever sort of cookie cutter you have on hand. I have got a yummy treat and also a toy all in one. So I can command the dishes to clean themselves, and my dogs to walk themselves. I can command you to have a wonderful day. And I don't need my wand to thank you for joining me for some fun fairy foods. I hope you have a fantastic day, and I hope you're having a great summer. We cannot wait to see you again soon. Thank you so much for joining me. Bye-bye.